60% of the American public is about to lose everything they have.
I know we're not Kerrville. I know we're not San Angelo or San Antonio. But hell, we're human beings. Help us.
Oh, I'm mad because I'm broke. Oh, if that's all you have to say. It seems like most MAGAs are the one crying about they can't afford to live. That y'all can't afford to live in this economy. And you don't see me on the internet crying and whining that I can't afford to live. I can't afford to buy bread. I can't afford to buy eggs. I can't afford gas. You don't see me do any of that. But that must have come from a lot of MAGA men. And like I say today, we now have, y'all say black fatigue. But now we have the white whining, and now the white whining seems to be coming from white men who does the most whining. So you never one time hear me getting on the internet saying anything about I can't afford to live. I never say that. I've never said that. I don't think there's no video, but there's plenty of videos of a lot of white men crying on the internet because they can't afford to live.
Look, the MAGA guys who built their brand on being tough and being the best, and when ordinary people complained, they'd say, well, you just need to work harder. Now they're the ones whining and crying because they can't even afford to buy a carton of milk. Well, it seems a bit funny, but I think everything has a way of acting like a boomerang and coming back to hit ya. So you really should think first before saying things to other people. See how everything can just flip in a single moment?
This country.
Is anyone else taking pleasure in watching that woman from Texas cry about how they need help and we pay taxes? Why is no one coming to help us? And on the surface, that makes me feel like a really bad person. But if you look into it, that woman has been shown in several videos mocking other people who are asking for help or saying they have problems. And she's saying, boo-hoo, we don't care. We don't care. She's bragging about the big, beautiful bill and all these things. She's hardcore MAGA and believes that anybody who's receiving assistance is a leech. Now, she is asking for help due to the flooding in Texas. And maybe, like I said, that makes me a sick, twisted person. I hate what MAGA makes me feel and look like. But I am taking pleasure in her pain because this is FAFO. This is karma. You want to come on the internet and you want to tell everybody to just not worry and just get over it and quit being a little liberal bitch. And then you want to come on here and say, we need help. Why are you not helping us?
This is a real example of karma. Look at the situation. A woman who for years laughed at people and filmed it, at poor people who were in need of help. She used to call them leeches. Well, that's what she called them. But then the boomerang effect kicked in the moment her house was flooded by the storm. She started screaming that she needs help and asking why nobody's helping her. And I want to tell you, some people here got what they deserved, because you shouldn't have laughed at those who really needed help, because you never know what's coming for you next.
I thought empathy was a weakness. I thought help was a weakness. I thought you needed to pull yourself up by the bootstraps. I mean, this woman in Texas is doing a complete 180 of what she was mocking people. She would make stitches.
So we have more bad news about the economy. We already know that it's tanking under Trump and these Republicans, Project 2025, but now we have another source and another barometer that's measuring this. You guys are familiar with Wallet Hub. If you're not, go ahead and search it. They've been around forever. They're a very neutral entity that provides you and me free financial data so we can make more sound financial decisions. And they just compiled their ranking, the worst to the best of states where the state's residents are in the most economic distress. And the results are shocking. So of the top 10 states where residents are in the most financial distress.
And here's what's truly bad for the guys in the red hats, and that's this next bit of information. They carefully examined an independent and neutral financial data platform for the prevailing and widespread levels of economic stress, and they saw that a vast number of Americans are in debt and are increasingly and deeply dissatisfied with their situation. What are they even Googling at 3 a.m? Bankruptcies and all sorts of credit histories. And I'll tell you this, 9 out of 10 of those states are Republican. Yes, you heard that right. These are actual Republicans, and now the guys in the red hats realize that this isn't just some bumper sticker. These are real numbers.
And what I mean by that, they look at a number of metrics, including the number of people who are behind on their credit card payments, the number of people who've had to make arrangements with their bankers and credit card companies to skip payments to try to catch up, the average credit score of those states' residents, the change in the number of bankruptcy filings, and also what they include are Google searches. 2 Google searches, which states have the highest number of searches for getting out of debt and for how to secure a loan, okay? Of the top 10 states, all but one are Republican states. Republicans cannot manage finances. They don't care about people. But now under Trump, with the tariffs and the cutting of services and companies laying off everywhere, those states clearly are going to be hit first and the hardest. This includes the top 3 states. Are you ready for this? In the most economic distress: Texas, Florida, and Louisiana.
Texas, Florida, and Louisiana are Republican states that are currently in a crisis. They are in the financial red zone. Texas has actually spiked to 22%, while Democratic states like Vermont or New Jersey, they're doing just fine financially. Decades of consistent Republican rule often lead to bankruptcy, whereas the solid Democratic approach is actually quite good and yields its own positive results.
It also includes South Carolina, Oklahoma, Mississippi, Kentucky, and Alabama. And I do want to add the 10 best states where the number of people in economic distress are the lowest. 9 of the 10 are blue states. The one red state, which makes sense, is Alaska. This includes Hawaii, Vermont, New Jersey, Maine, Michigan, Wisconsin. Now I want to dive a little bit into what's going on with Texas and Florida because, of course, Texas has the 8th largest economy in the world. But they have had an increase of 22% in the number.
Our country is winning again. In fact, we're winning so much that we really don't know what to do about it. People are asking me, please, Mr. President, we're winning too much. We can't take it anymore. We're not used to winning in our country. Until you came along, we're just always losing, but now we're winning too much.
Right now, it's not just that a government shutdown is looming. Trump, of course, could give a shit. He could care less if the government does shut down. He will use it as an excuse to fire as many people as possible, inflict maximum pain. And if the government doesn't shut down, if a budget is passed, of course, Donald Trump won't listen to what the laws dictate. He never has.
Look, while all these stories are unfolding, families are losing jobs, losing resources, farms are losing people and labor. And this guy, Trump, he's just standing on a golf course. At the same time the government is being dismantled, he's just standing there, swinging his club on the golf course, meaning he has completely different priorities, a completely different lifestyle. He's not interested at all in what's happening. Well, to put it simply, he doesn't give a damn about people.
But it's also important to recognize that in this moment, when Trump is spending his time on the golf course, one of the biggest stories within MAGA is about farmers. Farmers who Donald Trump has cost their livelihoods, their land, their family history with idiotic tariffs that are especially crushing the soybean farmers in America who sold millions of metric tons to China. And it's just not happening anymore, all because of Donald Trump.
Update, guys. American farmers are crying. You know, the first problem they thought was immigrants were the problem. Nigerians were the problem. Illegal Africans were the problem. Ghanaians were the problem. Ivory Coast, and so on and so forth. They were the problem. So what did the Mr. President do? He actually went ahead to kick out people he tagged as illegal immigrants, as people he tagged as not fit for the country. Now, after pulling all of them out, Mexico and so on and so forth, it is now time for his own people that he feel that they are not the problem of the country to go into the farm, to pick tomatoes, to pick strawberries, to do every single thing that this illegal immigrants, as he tags.
Look, there's your example of a perfect economy. Trump decided to kick out all the immigrants, thinking that all these jobs could be done by Americans. And at one point, Americans said, well, we're not going to do that. And what's the reason for that? The reason is simple. It's because the pay for it's very low. And while these immigrants could have earned money and everything would have been fine, instead he'd just kick them out. And now there's no one to work. So the whole harvest is just rotting in the fields, unwanted. That's how the policy turned out.